An FO is a commonly used three-letter file name extension for text files that accompany various digital scene releases with information about them. Unlike README files, an FO files often contain elaborate ASCII art that nowadays can be viewed with dedicated NFO viewers, text editors with appropriate fonts, or online in public NFO databases. The files have been explained as essentially being the press releases of the warez scene. Content: NFO files usually contain release information about the media. If the NFO file is for software, product installation notes can be found. They are commonly associated with warez groups who include them to declare credit of said release. Similarly, they are often found in demoscene productions, where the respective groups include them for credits, contact details, and the software requirements. NFO files were ubiquitous, and sometimes required, during the era of the BBS. The file was a stamp of authenticity, explicitly explaining what group released the software and described what modifications were applied if any. Once a software was packaged with an NFO and then released, it was then officially owned by that group and no other group could ethically re-release that particular package. A typical warez NFO file was elaborate and highly decorated, and usually included a large ASCII art logo along with software release and extended warez group information. The most important information is which group, which cracker and which member actually tested and packaged. The designers of these NFO files, who worked closely or within the warez groups, frequently incorporated extended ASCII characters from the character set code page 437 in the file. Before Windows 95 was introduced, NFO files also sometimes used ASCII escape sequences to generate animated ASCII art. These animations, however, required ASCIIs to be loaded by the DOS shell. If the user's computer wasn't already configured to load the ASCII's driver, viewing ASCII art required reconfiguring and rebooting. Because of this, ASCII art was much less common, and getting ASCII art to display correctly on a Windows 95 PC often proved more difficult, leading to a decline of such art in NFO files. As of 2014, NFO files can still be found in many zip archives. In modern-day warez NFO files, a large ASCII art logo is frequently shown at the top, followed by textual information below. Instead of using the old code page 437 extended ASCII characters, modern ASCII art uses the current de facto web standard ISO 8859-1/ISO 8859-15 or Unicode UTF-8 characters. Compatibility problems. The ASCII code page 437 character set was originally designed by IBM for the earliest DOS PCs so many years ago. Therefore it was not destined to become standardized throughout the non-English world. The internationalized World Wide Web today often serves an alternative encoding scheme and character set which breaks older NFO files. The code pages do not contain the same set of characters, so they are frequently rendered incorrectly in modern web browsers and operating systems. In addition to the character sets problem, many modern web browsers and text editing programs often use proportional fonts, whereas the ASCII art included in both old and new NFO files is heavily dependent on the file being viewed with a fixed-width font. Today people commonly use a special NFO viewer software to display old NFO files as intended. The advantages of using NFO viewer instead of a text editor are preset font and encoding settings, automatic window size and clickable hyperlinks. The simplest method to view is using a text editor and selecting a monospace font and set US Latin, or extended ASCII. Canonical origins. NFO files were first introduced by Fabulous Furlow, and Candyman of the elite PC warez organization called the Humble Guys, or THG. The THG group would first upload their package to their world headquarters, the PITS BBS, to establish distribution immediately. Such organizations are also known as warez groups or crack groups. The first use came in 1990 on the THG release of the PC game Bubble Bobble. This file was used in lieu of the more common README TXT or README. First file names. The perpetuation of this file extension legacy was carried on by warez groups which followed after THG and is still in use to this day. Hence its strong presence on Usenet news groups that carry binaries and on P2P file trading networks. The Humble Guys later became a demogroup, thus bringing the NFO file tradition into the demoscene. More than 40,000 demoscene productions have an NFO file next to the program file. File association. On Microsoft Windows, the NFO filename extension is associated with a Microsoft software tool called System Information. System Information provides a general overview of a computer's system specifications as well as detailed information on the system's hardware components and information about the Windows environment. NFO files that are meant for System Information simply contain all of the information that System Information displays and are saved in an XML format. Although, Microsoft claimed stake to the NFO extension by assigning it to a default, you can still change the file association to TXT, or Notepad. See also, README, File ID DIS, the ISO News, SFE, Simple File Verification. References. External links, Apple Overview, Q&A with de facto 2, the NFO file, NFO uploader and viewer. List of NFO utilities, NFO archive on textfiles.com.